9.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Suckling on the teat of tech.
With Paul Brislen.
Yep, Paul Brislen with the high-tech stories of the week. Morning, Paul.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, talking to us on a different phone this morning.
I am.
Yeah, from Vodafone headquarters. You're on the new Samsung Galaxy S.
That's right. What do you think? What's it sound like?
I mean, it
sounds a little bit different.
We're getting sort of the high notes. It's verging on slight distortion, but slightly.
That's not very good.
But it's
of course.
But maybe it's just not used to a phone, a 3G connection sounding so clear like that as well. Maybe, I don't know.
Could well be. It's a good problem to have, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sampling a variety of different smartphones and having a whale of a good time with them, because quite frankly, it's all getting very exciting.
Well, it is, because yesterday the big new player was the Windows Phone 7.
That's right. Microsoft's latest attempt to get into this market, and after several, I've got to say, pretty dismal efforts, I think they've knocked one out of the park. This thing actually looks really quite good.
It does. Now, New Zealand was the first to get it yesterday, is that right?
Yep. A slight technical hitch meant it actually went on sale 5 minutes early, and you could buy them on our website at 5 to midnight instead of midnight on the dot. But we won't tell Microsoft that, because they don't need to know. But, first in the world because of the virtues of being this close to the edge of the planet, and selling like hotcakes. Really quite impressed with the amount of pent-up demand for it, because, of course, up until now we've had the iPhone, of course, from Apple. We've had various Androids coming out, and they are storming the market. Poor old Nokia is still struggling, but they've just announced the N8, which will be out hopefully before Christmas. And, of course, RIM with its BlackBerries is still hanging on there. We've got 3 or 4 of those on the market at the moment as well.
Yeah.
So if you're into the smartphone world, and everybody is, it's a very cool time to be around.
It is very, very exciting time. Now, tell us about Windows Phone 7 and sort of what's behind it, and how long has this been in the making?
Well, this has been, I think it's been in the making for quite some time. They had a different platform right up to Windows 6.5. This is no, let me get the name right, Windows Phone 7. So it would imply it's the 7th version. But as far as I'm aware, they basically scrapped everything done up to this date and said, let's start anew. And the results are quite good. I think it's supposed to be the easiest to use smartphone. And it's got this tile formation on the home page, which I find really quite interesting. So with the iPhone, when you switch it on and unlock it, you get a series of applications in front of you, which is all well and good. With the Google, with the Android operating system, you move up a level. You've got a little active toolbar at the top, which gives you a little icon for notifications, for breaking news alerts, things like that, whatever you sign up for, really. And as a former reporter, I really like that, because it's a bit like the news ticker. You can get BBC breaking news alerts scrolling across the top of your phone, which is very funky. But what Microsoft's done is taken that one step further and made them what they call tiles, which are large buttons on the front screen, which update in real time. So if you get email coming in, it refreshes the number of emails. So it says Outlook 7, and you've got 7 new emails waiting for you, which makes it very, very easy to see at a glance what you've got and where you're going and what you've got to do next.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, I guess, a blend between a business phone and also a casual kind of fun entertainment phone as well.
That's right. Yeah. They really tried to hit both markets with one operating system, and I think they've done quite well with that.
I'm just going through.
Outlook actually looks so much better on the phone than it does on my PC. It's just not funny.
Yeah.
I've got to say the screen is gorgeous. It's crisp. It's clear. The digitizer, the thing that says if you touch the screen here, then on the letter A, then you will actually press the letter A, not B or Q or anything else, which is a problem I've had with the Nexus. The original Android phone.
It's quite accurate, isn't it?
Clean and crisp. And when you slide the screen across to go onto the next screen, the animation is glorious. It's instant. It looks good. I'm very impressed. I was expecting to be underwhelmed by it, and I'm glad to say that I'm not.
So I've only had probably in total a couple of hours on it so far, and what I like about it is the various applications that you can download from the marketplace. They seem to integrate quite seamlessly with the Windows Phone 7 operating system in that they kind of imitate the operating system, so they don't try to be something different within the operating system. They actually becomes kind of part of it. And I suppose it all depends on where you do or where you experience your life on the web.
That's right. If you're a Google person in Gmail, then that's a different experience to someone who's in Outlook all the time and uses the calendar functionality and is a Microsoft user.
That's right.
Most of us are.
And I guess I'm split. I'm probably split between Google and Microsoft. I'm certainly not an Apple boy. So there are some various things on this phone that are quite appealing, like it integrates well with your Xbox Live account. So I can bring up my avatar, look at the games, and then of course I can also play the games that will then become part of my Xbox Live account as well. And there's isn't
that interesting? So that is full integration with the home PC experience.
Yeah.
So not just computing, but now gaming and. As with the Android phone, does very nicely communicating with your home content, if you like. You know, the movies, the TV shows you've downloaded, music. It integrates quite seamlessly. So the phone then becomes part of the overall experience instead of something separate.
And I've got to say, one of the first things I installed, obviously, was a Twitter client, because you want to get on there and you want to start communicating. And the first thing I used was Seismic. And it's it looks better than the desktop version of the piece of software. Yeah.
See, I'm using that. I was using that on the Nexus, and it's a very nice client. But occasionally it would refresh and then drop all of the messaging out of the queue. So I'd have to then go back a screen and refresh and come back in, and that was really quite annoying.
Yeah.
But you know, as you say, it's taken everything up to a new level. So now all of a sudden you've got this full suite of integration with other things you're doing as well. And I think that's really quite interesting. And given that the expectations are in the next couple of years, the number of the people who access the internet via smartphones will overtake both PCs and laptops in terms of sheer numbers. You know, we're entering a world where the smartphone is the device that you'll use as your primary means of getting online, and that's quite a mind shift for a lot of companies. I think it's good to see Microsoft getting in there and getting it, getting well on the track and getting it so right finally. Because Microsoft, of course, whether you love them or hate them, is a huge part of this whole computing market. Yeah, they really do need to get this right.
I heard someone saying that their last roll of the dice when it comes to phones. I don't think that would be the case. I mean,
no, I don't think so either. They're usually quite slow off the mark. I remember back in the day when it was all Palm pilots, of course. Palm were busy launching the Palm 3, which was a very, very nice-looking phone without a phone in it. It was a completely separate device. Microsoft came into the market with the appallingly named Windows CE, which looked like Wince on all the devices, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
And Wince 1 was rubbish, and Wince 2 was rubbish. Wince 3 was okay, and then they stole the market. They absolutely nailed it after that, and it became the Pocket PC. Unfortunately, what they tried to do was adapt that to the phone market, which just hasn't worked at all. So I'm glad to see them throw it away and start over, because that's the power of that brand. They absolutely have the firepower to be able to make that decision, say, no, this is not working, let's redo it, and move on and do something else entirely.
Well, it's certainly very nice, and no doubt I'll have more thoughts on it, and perhaps some app reviews in the Get Smart segment next week as well.
Absolutely.
Paul, just finally, you wanted to bring up the fact that that in the filming of Lord of the Rings, they actually built a big supercomputer to handle some of the digital effects.
That's right, and that's gone on to form the basis of the New Zealand Supercomputer Centre, which is one of, well, when it was launched, it was in the top 100 supercomputers around the world. And I just think when we're talking about The Hobbit and the possibility of it going offshore and this kind of thing, it's easy to think it's just about a movie. And, at the end of the day, who really cares where it's made? It's all fantasy anyway. But it's the web, the infrastructure that goes with that kind of movie-making requirement that has been such a boon to the New Zealand economy. And things like the Supercomputer Centre need people to staff it. We're upskilling a lot of people to be able to get involved in this kind of industry. I think we've got to sort of step back from actors and working conditions and actually look at the bigger picture of what these kinds of things do actually bring to the economy and just how valuable they are.
I knew, Paul, those thespians would ruin it for the rest of us.
Well, I hope they haven't, and I hope they get their acts together soon and realise that you can't cut off your nose to spite your face. And I hope we get some resolution, because the stuff coming out of the supercomputer centre in terms of health research, design, it's endless. It's absolutely endless, and it's unparalleled. And we absolutely wouldn't have that if it wasn't for a bunch of hobbits taking a walk in the park one day.
Yeah. Can't we take it back to, isn't it like, if the thespians didn't please the king, it would be off with the head? Isn't that what? Isn't that how it used to happen?
I'm not one for capital punishment, but perhaps John Key could enact a short-lived act, the Hobbit Act of 2011, and we'll see what comes of it. I'm sure that's what he's going to do, but yeah.
No doubt. Hey, thanks very much, Paul.
Anytime.
Cheers, Paul Brislen on Twitter as well.